Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We are kicking things off today with what sounds like a simple trivia question.
Right, the kind of thing you'd find on a bottle cap.
Exactly. But it's one of those questions where if you actually start to pull on the thread, you unravel this just incredible story about one of the most successful designs in the history of life on Earth.
It's a very deceptive question. The implications are huge.
So the question is, do sharks have bones?
And the immediate, the trivia night answer is just no.
Right. You write no on your card, you get the point.
You get the point. And that's where most people stop. But we've been looking at this stack of reports data from the Natural History Museum, some deep-sea research on ghost sharks, and these incredible imaging studies, and they all show that the lack of bones, it's not a weakness.
It's not a deficit at all. It's a deliberate design choice.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at a shark, it's not some floppy bag of jelly. It's a precision machine. It's a hunter.
So the real question isn't, do they have bones? It's more like, how does this thing hold together without them?
That's it. And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're not just doing a biology lesson. We're sort of inspecting a high-performance biological machine.
We're going to look at the chassis, the engine, the plumbing, the whole deal.
Yeah.
All to understand how this creature has been an apex predator for 450 million years.
And the answers are, they're surprising. We're talking about skin made of teeth, a liver that basically works like a blimp.
And a digestive system that uses a design Nikola Tesla thought he invented.
That's the one.
I cannot wait to get to the Tesla part. But let's start with the basics, with that chassis. If I poke a shark, which, I don't recommend, it feels solid. So if it's not bone, what is it?
You're touching cartilage, specifically hyaline cartilage.
The same stuff that's in our ears and nose.
The very same. But in a shark, that material makes up the entire skeleton.
So why? Why would nature go with, for lack of a better word, the soft stuff for the ocean's top predator?
It's all about the economics of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Bone is heavy. It's really dense calcium phosphate.
So carrying it around is just,
oh yeah,
it's a drag.
It's a huge energy drain. If you have to chase down fast prey, a heavy skeleton means you have to work harder just to get up to speed.
Okay, so cartilage is the lightweight alternative.
It's about half the density of bone. It's lighter, it's more flexible, and that allows for, tighter turns, faster acceleration, all without the metabolic cost of hauling a heavy frame.
But I can bend my ear. It's squishy. How does a great white deliver a bite that can crush bone if its jaw is made of, ear stuff?
That's the key.
Yeah.
It's not all soft. In the places that need to be rigid, like the jaws or the backbone, the cartilage is heavily reinforced.
Wow.
It's covered in these layers of calcium salts. It's a process called tessellated calcification.
So it's like a composite material.
In a way, yeah. It gives them the hardness they need right at the stress points, but keeps the overall weight down.
It sounds a lot like using carbon fiber in a race car instead of steel.
That is a perfect analogy. And speaking of race cars, let's look at the paint job, because if you've ever touched shark skin, you know it's not smooth.
No, it feels like sandpaper.
It basically is. But what you're feeling aren't traditional scales. They're called plaquade scales, or dermal denticles.
Which literally means skin teeth.
Literally. The shark's entire body is covered in tiny, tiny teeth. Same structure as ours, a mammal, dentine, a pulp cavity inside.
That is a slightly horrifying image. A tube covered in thousands of teeth.
It sounds it, but it's brilliant engineering. These little V-shaped denticles, they channel the water as the shark swims. They reduce turbulence and drag.
So the water flows smoothly over the skin instead of tumbling against it.
Right. It creates what's called laminar flow. It makes them faster, but maybe more importantly, it makes them quieter. They just slice through the water.
I saw a note in here about riblets. What on earth is a riblet in this context?
This is so cool. The denticles are anchored in the skin in a way that creates this special texture. Think of it like an external corset.
A corset.
Yeah. When a shark flexes its body, normal skin would winkle. And winkles create drag. But the way these denticles are set up prevents the skin from wrinkling. It bristles just enough to maintain a smooth profile, even in a hard turn.
So the skin itself is part of the propulsion system.
A critical part. Okay, so we have this lightweight chassis and this super hydrodynamic skin, but sharks still have a basic physics problem. They're heavier than water.
Right. Bony fish, they have a swim bladder. It's that little internal balloon.
Exactly. They can just inflate or deflate it to hover.
And sharks don't have that. So
Yeah.
the old saying is, if a shark stops swimming.
It sinks. For the most part, yeah, they're negatively buoyant. But nature came up with a totally different fix, and it's the liver.
The liver. That seems like a weird solution for buoyancy.
It does, until you look at what's inside it. A shark's liver is massive. It can be up to 25% of the shark's total body weight.
25%, that's enormous.
It takes up a huge amount of space.
Yeah.
And it is packed with an oil called squalene.
And oil floats.
Oil is less dense than water. So by packing this giant organ with low-density oil, the shark gets a massive amount of natural lift. It's an internal floaty.
So why not just evolve a swim bladder like other fish?
Think about the lifestyle. A swim bladder is filled with gas. If you dive deep, that gas compresses and you sink faster. If you shoot to the surface, the gas expands and, well, it's not pretty.
The bladder can basically explode.
Exactly. But oil is incompressible, so a shark can rocket from the deep to ambush a seal on the surface without worrying about its insides rupturing from the pressure change.
That makes perfect sense. Although there was an exception in the notes, right? The six-eel shark.
Ah, yeah. Hexanchus griseus, a deep-sea specialist. Its liver is so huge and so oily that it's actually positively buoyant. It can just glide upwards without even moving.
Wow. And that's static lift. But they also get dynamic lift, like an airplane wing.
They do. Their snout is flattened, their pectoral fins act like wings. As they move forward, water flowing over their body generates lift. About 30% of their ability to stay up comes from that.
So they're literally flying through the water.
They really are. And the muscles driving that flight, it's basically a hybrid engine.
You mean the red and the white muscle?
Right. Think of the red locomotor muscle as the efficient aerobic engine. It's for cruising, migrating long distances.
And the white muscle is the turbocharger.
That's it. It's anaerobic. It's for those terrifying, explosive bursts of speed when a great white breaches. It's incredibly powerful, but it burns out very quickly.
The notes also mention something I find just fascinating. The reet mirabile.
The wonderful net.
It sounds like magic, but it's a heat exchanger, isn't it?
It is. Most fish are cold-blooded. Their body temperature just matches the water. But high-performance sharks, like great whites and makos, they have this incredible network of intertwined veins and arteries.
And how does that work?
So as cold, oxygenated blood comes from the gills, it passes right next to warm blood leaving the muscles.
And the heat just transfers over?
Exactly. It's a
Yeah.
countercurrent exchange. They trap their own body heat before it's lost to the ocean.
So they're keeping their engine warm.
They can keep their swimming muscles, their brain, even their eyes up to 10 degrees warmer than the water around them, and warm muscles contract faster, give them a huge advantage.
Okay, so that's the chassis and the engine. Now for the part that honestly blew my mind. The plumbing.
The spiral intestine.
Yeah. And the fact that we're only just now figuring this out with 3D CT scans.
Well, soft tissue is hard to study. If you cut it, it collapses. So these researchers had to freeze dry the organs to scan them in their natural shape. And what they found was a structure that looks just like a Tesla valve.
A Tesla valve. For anyone who doesn't know, Nikola Tesla patented this in 1920. It's a valve with no moving parts.
None. It's just fixed geometry. Fluid can flow one way easily, but if it tries to go backward, it gets blocked.
So why does a shark have this in its gut?
Efficiency. Always
Yeah.
efficiency. Sharks eat these huge, infrequent meals. They need to extract every single calorie.
So this slows the food down.
The spiral shape forces food to take a much longer path. But the study showed it's more than that. It slows the actual flow rate down by about 3.5 times compared to a simple tube. It's a passive brake on digestion.
Passive meaning it doesn't take energy.
Exactly. No muscles needed to hold things in place. Nature invented a valve with no moving parts 450 million years before Tesla drew it on paper.
That is just, it's humbling.
It really is.
Okay, let's move to the guidance system. The sensors. We all know they can smell, but this electrical sense. The ampullae of Lorenzini,
Best name in anatomy.
isn't it? These are the little jelly-filled pores all over their snout.
And they detect tiny electromagnetic fields. Every time a fish twitches a muscle, its heart beats. That sends out a faint electrical signal.
And the sharks can see it.
They can feel it. But the deep dive source on the ghost shark really changes how we think about this.
Chimera monstrosa.
Great name.
It is. So these are deep-sea cousins of sharks. They live in total darkness hundreds of meters down.
And their sensor array is completely different. A great white has thousands of these tiny pores for that final strike. The ghost shark has way fewer, only about 700. But the pores themselves are huge. They're called macroampullae.
Big enough to see.
Oh, yeah. Some clusters are over a centimeter wide. They're massive.
Why fewer but bigger?
Sensitivity. In total darkness, you're not seeing anything. You're hunting by detecting the faint electrical hum of something buried in the mud.
Ah, so a bigger pore means more of that conductive jelly.
Exactly. It increases the signal-to-noise ratio. It's like building a bigger radio telescope to hear fainter signals from space.
And they're all clustered around the mouth.
Tightly clustered. They use suction feeding, just slurping prey up. Those sensors act as a targeting system to guide the mouth with millimeter precision in pitch blackness.
Incredible. Okay, let's talk about the business end of that targeting system.
Mhm.
The jaws. We know the cartilage is hardened, but the mechanics are wild.
The key is that the upper jaw is not fused to the skull.
Unlike ours, my upper jaw doesn't move.
Right. But a shark's is suspended. This lets them protrude it. They can literally throw their jaw forward away from their skull.
And the notes call this a slingshot mechanism.
That's from a study on lamniform sharks, so great whites, makos. They have these elastic ligaments. When the shark opens its mouth, it stretches them, storing potential energy like a rubber band.
And when it bites,
That energy is released, and the jaw just snaps forward faster than muscle alone could move it. It lets them gouge out chunks of prey.
it's violent, but again, efficient.
Mm-hmm.
So, all of this work, the swimming, the biting, it needs oxygen. Let's bust a myth. Do all sharks die if they stop swimming?
That is one of the most persistent ones. And the simple answer is no, it depends on the shark.
So for some of them, it's true.
Yes. The great white, the mako, they're what we call obligate ram ventilators. They have to keep swimming to ram water over their gills.
So if they stop, they suffocate.
They do. They've actually lost the muscles for pumping. But the vast majority of sharks, nurse sharks, angel sharks, they use buccal pumping.
Which is just using their cheek muscles to suck water in.
Exactly. They can sit perfectly still on the seafloor and breathe just fine.
This connects to that little hole behind the eye on some of them, the spiracle.
The spiracle is genius. It's a vestigial gill slit. So if you're an angel shark buried in the sand, you can't open your mouth or you'll get a mouthful of grit. You use the spiracle on top of your head like a snorkel.
That is just so clever. And once the water is in, the gills themselves use something called countercurrent exchange.
This is crucial. Water flows over the gills in one direction.
And the blood inside flows the opposite way.
Right. If they flowed the same way, oxygen levels would equalize at, say, 50% and then stop. But with opposite flows, the blood is always meeting water with a higher oxygen concentration.
So it just keeps absorbing oxygen across the whole length of the gill.
It allows them to extract up to 80 or even 90% of the available oxygen from the water. It's near perfect efficiency.
So when you put this all together, the lightweight chassis, the Tesla valve gut, the semiconductor jelly in its nose, the slingshot jaw, we are looking at a monster.
Not at all. We are looking at a masterclass in optimization. The shark has stayed at the top for 450 million years because every single part of it is designed to save energy and maximize lethality.
It really makes you rethink our idea of what's primitive versus advanced. I mean, here's a creature using fluid dynamics that we only really got our heads around a century ago.
Which leads to a really interesting thought. If nature came up with this valve with no moving parts 500 million years ago, and we're just now figuring it out in a shark's gut, what else is in there?
Right. What other biological technologies are just hiding in plain sight in animals we think we already know everything about?
We're always looking to the future for the next big breakthrough, but maybe some of the most advanced engineering on the planet is just swimming right under us, waiting to be rediscovered.
So the next time you see a picture of a shark, don't just look at the teeth, look at the machinery. Thanks for diving in with us.
Keep asking questions.